I tell you what, it's so good to be back. Hello everybody and welcome to Virtual Church, your usual Sunday evening entertainment here on Beauty and Sound, where I have quite a lot of hymns to get through tonight, trying to make up from last week, and organ pieces, a top 5 as requested by you, and live requests as well. There we go. I'm going to get straight on with it. Praise to the Lord, the Almighty, the King of creation. I'll see you on the other side. Praise to the Lord, the Almighty, the King of creation. Requested by Brady Kilman. I've not seen Brady's name before, so I thought I would open that, open today's virtual church with that. Bobby! The cat on my organ bench. Well, I didn't expect there to be a cat on my organ bench. Bobby, be careful. Sorry, I was saying Brady. Thank you for requesting that. You're brand new, so I wanted to start the show with a new listener. Perhaps you're not new, perhaps you've been lurking. Anyway, hello and welcome. Yes, last week was the first time, I think, that I've had to cancel or postpone a virtual church or anything on a Sunday night since I have been doing them. And I can tell you, it was a very hard decision to make, because virtual church is, you might not believe it, my favourite thing on a Sunday. Sitting here and playing the organ for you guys. It's a lot of fun. I might grumble, I might moan about the cats, about Bobby, but I love it really. Next one is a request from James Mossop. I've seen James chatting away. Good to have you with us, James. And he has requested a great rouser of a hymn to the tune of Cumrontha. I chose this as the last hymn for this morning's Holy Communion service, although that would be last week, so we're actually catching up. This is last week's request, James. It is Guide Me, O Thou Great Redeemer, or Jehovah, depending on which hymn book you have. Choir mutations coming your way. There they are. Someone, who was that, who just said in the live chat, this is the most, oh, that's the most introspective Carantha I've ever heard. Well, Bill, you got to go somewhere. If you start too loud, and where do you go from there? I like to just start it a bit quietly, make you think it's going to be an introspective performance. Perhaps he's going to play it on the flutes today. He's going to use the strings today. Where's he going to go with this? Leave the audience waiting and wanting more. Tease them. Start with the quiet mutations and then bring on the swell reeds. Keep that box closed. Open the box. Bring on the foundation stops. Bring on the mixtures. Bring on the reeds. There's the tuba. There's the Carantha that we all know and love. Okay, I'm going to get through these hymns quickly because we've got a lot of them. I hope you're sitting comfortably. I left my organ shoes at Romsey tonight. It's a shame. I was going to wear my organ shoes tonight. I left them. I was playing Evensong tonight down there, and I left my shoes there. Well, at least I hope I did, because they're not here. And I was almost tempted to wear my decrepit older ones, which are down there with holes in them, but I thought, nah, you guys have got standards. You don't want me playing with holy shoes, do you? The church's one foundation is Jesus Christ, her Lord. She is his new creation by water and the word. From heaven he came and sought her to be his holy bride. And with his own blood he bought her, and for her life he died. A wonderful tune called Aurelia. This is one of my favourites. Absolutely all-time top 5 favourites. But more importantly, oh no, we've got Nala in now. More importantly, it's been requested by the same person who requested the first one. It's just coincidentally, this is now the third in the queue. Brady Kilman has requested the Church's One Foundation. And this is what it sounds like. Oh, my button doesn't, why doesn't that button work? I do hope that the sound is okay for you tonight. If you've read the description of the video, you'll notice that we are in virtual Salisbury, an organ that I know really well, a pipe organ that I know well. But I haven't played the organ, either the real organ or this sample set version. I haven't played it for, I think the last time since we did our virtual church on it, so whenever that was a while ago. And I can just feel myself just ever so slightly hesitant to pull out certain colours, because I'm not quite sure how they blend. I've forgotten how they blend. So it will take me just a few more hymns just to really get into the feel, into the groove of this organ. But we'll get there. Don't you worry about that, because this is a really, really fab organ. Next hymn comes in from two people actually. It's been requested by Carmen, who's chatting away, or should we say Armin. I don't know, I'm not quite sure what's happened to your C. I can see the first letter of your name, Carmen, so don't worry, I can always see it. It's also been requested by Elizabeth Brown. It is a worship of the Lord in the beauty of holiness, to the tune of Was liebet, is that right? Yes, Was liebet, Was sherbet, Shebet, with the upbeat. You know what I mean. This is what key should we hit? It's printed here in C. Why is it in C? It's normally in D, isn't it? Should we have it in D or should we have it in C? Let's have it in D, shall we? Shall we be brave? Yes, oh, worship the Lord in the beauty of holiness. Bow down before him, his glory proclaim. With gold of obedience and incense of lowliness, kneel and adore him. The Lord is his name. I can see some new people in tonight. It's very good to have new people. It's also very good to have people who return. So yay for both sort of camps there. If you are new, please do say hello. Please do say hi, I'm new, or however you want to say it. But I'm just really intrigued to see who's new tonight. It's always good to have new people joining us. So I'll leave that to you. And Dantino, you're not old. Give over. Let's go for this one. Better in D, I think, isn't it, than in C major. This is what it says like in C major. Far too low. And it hasn't got the right sort of colour, I don't think. Of holiness, bow down before him, his glory proclaim. Much brighter, much better. Yeah, always play that one in D. Cool, so 2 people requested that one, Carmen and Elizabeth. So thank you very much. I think Elizabeth has actually sponsored something else. Elizabeth, you've asked for a worship through Lord in the beauty. Is that the one? Oh, they've had it. There we go. So Nick Knack sponsored something. So thank you very much, Nick Knack. Oh, Whaley. Wally. Whaley. Jerry Martin, thank you very much for your 20. Elizabeth, for your £2. Charlie, thank you very much. Nick Knack for your 10. And Terence for your, is that South African dollars? Is that 329 ZAR? I don't know what that is. But I am, of course, it's an orange one, so it's at least $20. So thank you very much, guys. Josh, is it Josh or is it James tonight? Josh is keeping an eye on all the chat. So if there are any issues, please do tag Josh Wilson. He's producing it for me behind the scenes, doing a fabulous job as always. The next hymn, I'm just going to very quickly make sure that I've got a slight panic that it might not be in my iPad. But that's okay, because there are hymn books floating around. It's The Royal Banners Forward Go. And I don't remember putting this into my iPad for some reason. I've got a sneaky feeling. I know where it isn't in the NAH though. It's number 128 in the NAH. I just know that. You know, there are certain hymns that I just know the numbers of. And 128 is that particular hymn. That's lucky, isn't it? And there it is. The Royal Banners Forward Go, or whatever words you want to sing. Actually, I have here Eternal Monarch, King Most High. Importantly, should I say, it's been requested by, this is a new one, Darobsa Music. Are you in Darobsa? If you are, do let me know, and I'll say hello. It's called Colfallen Royal by Percy Book. Percy Book wrote an organ tuition book. And there was when I was organ scholar at York, the organ scholar before me, my predecessor, was very northern. He was from Harrogate, and he had a much more northern accent than I did. Wonderful accent, actually. And he used that book, and it was a Percy book, and the way he just pronounced those oohs on the ooh, Percy book was fantastic. Percy bark, as they might say down south. Book, Percy Book. You people out in America have no idea what I'm talking about. North-South divide, it's an accent, regional thing. Anyway, before you switch off, let's have this hymn with the Amen at the end. Don't forget the Amen. with a couple of wrong pedal notes there at the end, just for good measure. Completely intentional, of course. I wouldn't have done those if I'd had my organ shoes on. Definitely not in here, are they? Just looking in one last look around. The problem is with this carpet in here, you can just see it there. Look, when anything goes onto the carpet, you forget ever finding it, unless it's white, or unless it's flashing, a flashing beacon. But you drop something on down there, it's gone forever. Even a pair of new organ shoes. No, they're not here. I think they're miles away. Oh, that's a shame. Okay, so Carmen, you've made another request tonight. So I'm going to give you 2 requests tonight because you feel shortchanged with your C that's sometimes missing on the screen. It's not for me. Has anyone else noticed anyone's username missing various letters? Christ whose glory fills the sky. Carmen says, I heard it sung by an Anglican church streaming from Barbados and fell in love with it. Ooh, hang on. Let me just make sure that this is the right tune. Because I was going to say, this is quite a well-known hymn, this. You can't have just heard it, surely. Christ whose glory fills the sky. Christ. Oh, come on, Richard. Why isn't it in here? I went through all of these hymns earlier to make sure that they are indeed all in the hymn on there, but it's disappeared. I put it in. I did. I really did. It's just disappeared. The iPad's just deleted it. The iPad's just thought, he doesn't need that hymn. He doesn't need it. I'll delete it. I'll tell you what, I won't even ask him. I'll just delete it. I'm certain he doesn't need that hymn. I'll just get rid of it. I'll just get rid of it. Well, I did need it. I did. Christ whose glory fills the skies. Now, so the tune that you asked for isn't in here. Could someone do me a favour? Josh, could you let me know where I can find Christ whose glory fills the skies with the tune Hallet? Carmen has written Common Praise, so if it's in Common Praise, it might be number 3. Carmen's put 3 question mark, so that's no good, is it? Can someone confirm that? And I won't look until it's confirmed. The next hymn, which is coming from Daniel Kubaki, is in my iPad, unless it's deleted it again, just completely by its own accord. Thy hand, O God, has guided. This is a really good hymn. I remember playing this once for an audition for an organ scholarship at Chichester. I think that was the first time I'd probably ever played it, to be honest. The tune's called Thornbury, and there were 6,500 verses, so we're not going to have all of those. We're going to have... how many verses shall we have? Should we have 3 verses? Because they're all long. It's a good hymn, though, this. This is by Basil Harwood. And it sounds a little bit like this. I'm going to give you a little bit of a new screen. You can see my stops. Hopefully this works. Microphone on, microphone off. On. If I say off and turn the microphone off, then you can't hear me saying off. Yes, the microphone was open, unintentionally, or perhaps it maybe should be intentionally, because the sound you hear in here is, in the room at least, is actually very different to what you hear online. And people who've played it, I know there's a couple of people at least in the chat who have heard it in real life, will attest to actually it does sound very different in the room than it does online. So sometimes actually it's not a bad thing to leave the microphone open so you can hear a bit of combination of the real sort of clean sample set sound, a direct feed from Hauptwerk, and then a live sort of room in here. But you can hear all of the noises of me pulling out the stops and hitting the keys, stroking delicately the keys. Of course, I never hit them. Immortal Love, Forever Full has been requested by Jim Kim. Jim, how do I pronounce your surname, my friend? Is it Jim Kim? K-I-M-E. I guess that's Kim. I know we've been through this before, haven't we? I'm so sorry. Anyway, Jim has requested this. He says, the words are beautiful poetry and full of comfort. Immortal love, forever full, forever flowing free, forever shared, forever whole, and never ebbing sea. To the tune Bishop Thorpe. Nice bit of colour coming through from the solo division there, including all of the reeds and all of the strings with the box shut. If you couple that to the swell reeds, it really does act as a secondary swell division actually. So if I open the solo box, if you're so interested, if you want to hear the real pipe organ do a very similar thing, in my interstellar recording on the pipe organ of Salisbury, in the fourth movement, which is called No Time for Caution, I start with the full swell, but I also have all of the solo quieter reeds coupled down to the swell, with both boxes open, just to really add to the grit in that sound. Perhaps it might be worth going to listen to it to see whether you can hear the solo reeds coming through there. Sam Sleeth has sent in a request by a composer who I knew from my time at York, by Richard Shepherd. It's in a world where people walk in darkness. Let us turn our faces to the light of God revealed in Jesus, to the day star scattering our night. And then the refrain goes, for the light is stronger than the darkness, and the day will overcome the night. Through the shadows linger all around us. Let us turn our faces to the light. The words are by Robert Willis, and the music is by Richard Shepherd. I don't think I've ever cast my eyes on this hymn in my entire life. Although Richard Shepherd did say a similar thing to me when I was playing for Midnight Mass once in York. It was the another choir used to sing that service. I forget what the choir was called now. And I was playing something of his before the service, just in pre-service music, waffle basically. And I played something of his, and he walked over and he said, "Did I write that?" And he said, which was a very genuine question, because he said he couldn't remember writing it. Like, yes, Richard, you wrote this piece. It's a really beautiful little Christmas ditty, actually. Anyway, let's see what this one's like. It's obviously quite good because I know Sam has good taste. Know whether I can play it in the right way is another question. It's called, the tune, the music is called Let Us Light a Candle. And there is an optional introduction consisting of one whole bar. It goes like this. So Sam, did you want it to end loud? It's funny because the last chord, let me show you how the last chord's written. Just watch how I'm playing the last chord with all of my limbs. Particularly take note of the bottom C and the low G in the pedal. Let's have one more verse of that. One more verse, just for Sam. Outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. Okay, so let's move on from that. Let's move on from that into a request which comes in. I suspect this is going to be a very different sort of hymn, actually. It's from an old hymn book, so it's going to be a bit more sensible. It's coming from Benjamin Yao. Benjamin Yao, our wonderful, member of our community. But Benjamin does really wonderful things by going through, when he's available, doesn't do it all the time, rightly so, virtual churches, recitals, and actually puts timestamps for us all. So we can just click on the timestamp in the description and the video zooms straight to that moment of the video. It's very clever. It is Jesus, our Lord, with what joy we adore thee, chanting our praise to thyself on the throne. Blessed in thy presence we worship before thee. Own thou art worthy and worthy alone. And the refrain is, Lord, thou art worthy. Lord, thou art worthy. That repeats. Blessed in thy presence we worship before thee. Own thou art worthy and worthy alone. Anyone know this one? Hands up if you do. Because I can't put my hand up. I just do not know this one at all. So I'm going to pull this one a bit nearer because pull the music desk towards me because it's a bit small on the screen. Hopefully I can read it. Luckily, if no one knows it, you won't hear all my mistakes. But shh, don't tell anyone. nice. It doesn't give me a name of the tune, but I think it is by. It says H.D.A. Champney. Can you see that up on the left? H.D. apostrophe A, should I say? Champney. Now, whether he wrote the music, he or she wrote the music, or whether that person wrote the music, don't know. Just two names at the top. The publisher just thought, doesn't matter who did what, as long as the names are there, they've done their job. But is that the composer? Is that the composer? Is that the editor? Who is that? I don't know who these people are. Help, I don't know. It's not very useful for someone who's doing virtual church and wants to talk a little bit about the hymns. They should have thought about that. You know, when they're making this hymn book hundreds of years ago, they should have thought that one day someone on YouTube will be streaming live to 260 people talking about the composer of this hymn. I have to write to the editor. Okay, thank you very much, Benjamin Yao. Roger Richards is up next. Oh, let me just say why Benjamin requested it. He said, sang during this morning's worship. Vaguely remembered this tune was once featured in one of the previous VCs. I don't think it was, but couldn't find it, which is probably why it wasn't. Maybe my memory is mixed up. I think your memory is mixed up. This is coming from someone who is the most forgetful person in the entire world, so I think you're probably more likely to be right than I am. I don't know, have we ever had that tune on VC before? Oh look, here we go. Andrew Luce is saying, the author was Champney and Sankey wrote the music. There we go. Yeah, okay, cool. So you've worked it out. I'm glad you were able to work it out, because I haven't a clue. Next one looks like it's a sort of a gentle tune. So we can actually have some gentler stops. It's been quite a rowdy VC today, hasn't it? This is what happens when I'm away for a week. I come back and I'm all revved up for the tubas and reeds and all sorts. This next one, we can't use it. It's, I come with joy, a child of God, forgiven, loved, and free. The life of Jesus to recall in love laid down for me. In love laid down for me. It comes in from Roger Richards. The music is the text is definitely by Brian Wren. And Roger says that Brian Wren is a personal friend. So we actually have, not for the first time on VC, but we actually have a personal connection with the composer of the music. So I'm pretty certain that we haven't had this before, so this will be new to you, and I would be very interested to know your thoughts. I'm always interested to know your thoughts actually on the hymns. But as this is a new one, I know this is a new one in Virtual Church, I'd be very interested to know what you think about it. Let's just try something that we haven't had yet. The mutation on the great. Have a look at the stops so you can see what I'm pulling out. The 8, 4, and the 12th there, the Nazard, accompanied by the, let's just have the couple of the flutes on the choir. Let's get rid of the flute harmonique, that's quite big. And, okay, got that. Let's see what that sounds like then, guys. Oh, wasn't that beautiful? Music is called Peace, a Dove of Peace. It's apparently an American folk melody. I hadn't heard that melody before. And it was by Brian Wren, who is a personal friend of Roger Richards. And Roger Richards is the person who requested it. As I was about to press down the very first chord, I saw something on the screen from Robert Salisbury, and I almost had to stop because I almost played a wrong chord. Robert, you say just spectacular music as usual. Let's get that new music room built. Well, thank you very much for your donation, and your donation was just spectacular. And I also did see people saying thank you as well. So I really appreciate that, because donations, they're not my donations. I don't go and spend them in the pub or in the restaurant. They sit in the Beauty and Sound account, and they come back into the business for you. You can hopefully see how BIS has grown. The content has changed, it's developed, it's adapted. It's all thanks to you guys. So thank you. It makes BIS a thing. It makes it possible. So thank you. Thank you very much. Actually, that wonderful donation was good timing, because that actually now marks the end of not virtual church. Don't worry, don't get up. Stay seated. Keep on enjoying your port or whatever you're drinking, water. We're now going to go into the top 5. So this is my favourite part of virtual church, the top 5, because it gives me a bit of an insight into you. Before that, however, we are just going to have something by Henry Purcell. This is a request from James Mossop, who says, he requested it last week, but as I say, I'm catching up from last week's things because I wasn't playing last week, obviously. He said about this organ piece, I've had this wonderful piece in my head for the past few days, and it's something that I'm planning to play after the service on the 7th of May to mark the coronation of King Charles. It's Purcell. Purcell didn't write that much organ music. What should I say? He didn't write much organ music that is well known. And this really, I don't know whether this was an organ tune, an organ piece or not. It's trumpet tune. And it has been arranged here by C.H. Trevor. Oh no, Bobby's on the prowl. Now, James, I haven't got the air, unfortunately. I've got the trumpet tune bit, but I haven't got the air which follows on from it. So I think another day we'll have the air. So trumpet tune, should we change the title to tuba tune? Too late, I've done it. I've engaged a tuba. Let's engage some stuff which will accompany it. Does the tuba come across okay? A genuine question to you guys. Is the tuba coming across? I've actually turned the tuba down a fraction in the room, because actually it's very loud. But on the stream, is it coming across okay? Let me know. So here we go. Purcell's trumpet tune, or tuba tune. At which point I should really be going into an air section, but I haven't got it in here, unfortunately, because the next page is the Charpentier Prelude. And the Prince of Denmark's March is on the previous page, which is by Clark. And then the one before that is the Hornpipe by Handel. They're all sort of the same, aren't they, really? They're all really wonderful. Now then. Top 5 time. Yes. Now I need to just open the email because okie dokie, right. So today's top 5 comes in from. The reason I was looking down at my phone is because I was just seeing if I've had an update from the submitter. Okay, so today's top 5 comes in from John Maslin. I'm very grateful to John for sending it through. He's sent through 5 wonderful hymns, 5 hymns that we all know. Now, let's go. Let's start at number 5. It's often a good place to go in it, isn't it? And go down all the way to number 1. Let me just find the first one first, and then I'll give you John's reason for requesting it. There it is. So he says about this first one in his list, a great, good start, a great triumphant communion hymn. Simple as that. One of my favourites. There's no trumpet on the organ. I play at present, unfortunately, but earlier in life, when I did have one to use, I couldn't resist it for the final Alleluia. Okay, well, which trumpet shall we use? The one under the camera? You know the one I mean, don't you? You can watch me on the screen pull it out. The big trumpet. It's Lord enthroned in heavenly splendour, first begotten from the dead. Thou alone, our strong defender, liftest up thy people's head. Alleluia, alleluia, Jesu true and living bread. Okay, are you ready to rock, guys? Because, hold on to your hats, here goes. Lots of trumpets. I think I used them all actually. The trumpet on the choir and the great coupled together. Just hear them undulating slightly because they're quite in tune. Robert, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Number 2, or counting down from 5, so actually number 4, counting down from 5. We go into number 4, which takes us into actually a very, very different hymn. Guys, we need to just step back a moment. To be quiet. This one's all about watching, contemplating, pleading, being grateful. Because this comes from Passion Tide, that very powerful, poignant season in the church's year. And one of the great tunes, one of the great hymns from Passion Tide, as John says, this is just so beautiful. It's somber, it's poignant, which is what I've just said. It's also prayerful. I believe JSB harmonized it differently several times. Would it be possible to have more than one of his harmonies? It is, of course, our sacred head sore wounded, defiled, and put to scorn. There are various translations of that because it was originally in Latin from the 14th century, so it's been translated a number of times. This translation is by Robert Bridges. It is the Passion Chorale, it's called. It comes from the St. Matthew Passion. Well, Bach, should I say, Bach used it in his St. Matthew Passion. And I will, of course, give you 2 harmonies. I'll give you a sort of a safe, standard congregational version, and then a more elaborate version, which you have come to expect from the great man. 3 verses of this wonderful, wonderful hymn. I was giving a bit of a talk to some school children, teenagers, on Friday at a very, very good independent school in Southampton, and I was adjudicating a competition, a music competition where all of the musicians in the school would compete basically for various prizes, and I was the only adjudicator, which was rather daunting, and the talent was extraordinarily high. And after each group had performed, most of them stayed in the room and listened to their fellow classmates play. And after each group, I sat down with them and just spoke about each of their performances and critiqued them, which in some instances was very hard, because some of these performances by 14, 15, occasionally even younger than that, were astoundingly good. And just trying to find useful and constructive things to say. But one thing I did say, one thing I noticed actually in amongst all of these young people, although 99% of them, as soon as they had finished playing, they would get up and basically walk off, and people would clap and that was it. That was their turn done. Only one person, and he played a wonderful piece on the piano by Chopin, and he was the only person to make the audience, me, and his classmates, he was the only person to make them wait. So he played that final chord. It was a D flat major chord. It was very quiet, but he brought up the sustaining pedal. He didn't move for about, let's just say it was 5 or 6 seconds, which actually is quite a long time. And I said to the boys and girls, part of performance is not necessarily what you hear, but it's what you don't hear. It's the musical space. It's the rest. It's the pause marks. It's how you breathe. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because that hymn just requires a bit of space after it, doesn't it? I mean, the final words in verse 5 there, I know I only give you 3 verses, but in verse 5, my days are few, O fail not, with thine immortal power, to hold me that I quail not in death's most fearful hour, that I may fight befriended and see in my last strife, to me thine arms extended upon the cross of life. A wonderful metaphor. And just have to sort of sit back and think about that. And then relax. So, but the positive thing about all of that is that I came away from that whole day in the school feeling so uplifted from those performances, and so encouraged that there were so many young, enthusiastic and talented and eager young musicians who are still learning and playing. It was just so wonderful to see. Anyway, massive diversion there. Let's get back onto John's top 5 into this is his number 3 now. It's 04, 1,000 tongues to sing. And this is what John says about it. Let me just find it very quickly. To the tune Lingam. I don't really like the tunes so often used for this hymn, but Lingam captures the praise mood so much better. It was written by Wesley to celebrate the first year of his conversion, and John found the following note, passage online. Wesley acquired the title phrase of this text from Peter Buhler, who said to Wesley, If I had 1,000 tongues, I would praise Christ with them all. So, oh, for 1,000 tongues to sing my great Redeemer's praise, my great Redeemer's praise, the glories of my God and King, the triumphs of his grace, etc., etc., etc. Great tune, this. Okay, here we go. It's not a hymn tune that we have in this country. Certainly where I've been playing, I know it's around and about, dare I say, to probably the Methodist churches, but in the church in England, I don't think it's that widely well known. However, it is pretty cool, isn't it? It's a good tune. There's something what the other one's called. Is it Diadem? A Diademeter, the other tune that we have for that. That's a good tune, isn't it? We've got John in. John Hosking. I just saw people say hello to John. So John is the organist. He's the custodian of one of our great organs here in England, in the UK actually, I suppose. It's up in Blackburn Cathedral. It's a very, very exciting organ. Oh, okay, yes, it is. Sorry, so I don't know which tune I'm thinking of, King Laudrup. I think I've got the wrong tune entirely. You are entirely correct. If you're, say, I want to know who's in. So we've got 271 people watching now. Let's do the usual thing. +1 and your location. So, +1, Hampshire. That's me. I've started the ball rolling. I'm going to play the next hymn now, which is just... Oh, this next hymn is perfection. We've not had this for a long time, actually. We have had it, but we've not had it for a very long time. You'll enjoy this. I wish I could watch people. I will keep an eye on that. This is what John says. People watching back on the live chat. I hope you're watching the live chat right now, because it just looks amazing. People are saying where they're from in the world. It's marvellous. It really is amazing. Many years ago, the vicar did a meditative service for Palm Sunday. And as the organist was... this is usual. And as the organist was our only tenor, and John's a bass, he asked me to play. This was one of the chosen hymns. It wasn't an HC. It wasn't a HC. Holy Communion, perhaps? But the words fitted the mood perfectly. And it was one of the rare occasions when something or someone takes over the spirit, and we were all greatly moved by it, not least me. A lovely, gentle communion hymn which sums it all up perfectly. This is a really nice hymn. Really, really nice hymn. Thank you very much for sending it through. It's "And now, O Father, mindful of the love that bought us once for all on Calvary's tree, and having with us him that pleads above, we here present, we here spread forth to thee, the only offering perfect in thine eyes, the one true, pure, immortal sacrifice." Tune is called Unde et Memores. Oh, this is lovely. This is really, really... If you don't know this hymn, you're in for a real treat. Honestly, it's gorgeous, this. Let me use the mutations for verse 1. Okay, here we go. you had the microphone open there again, but it doesn't matter because it's such a quiet hymn anyway. All you would have heard, hopefully, was just a bit of action noise. Isn't that a gorgeous hymn? Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous tune. Well, it takes us into final hymn in John's list. A bit of a contrast to what you've just heard, let me tell you. So if you've just turned your radio sets up, you might want to just now tread on the side of caution, I think. What does John say about it? He says this. I will read what he says when I found the hymn. There it is. He says this. He says, what can I say? Asks John. This is one of the greatest Easter hymns. Love it. Like you, when I play the last verse, I like to raise the pitch. But not to E flat, but to E. Ooh, a simple modulation. Then straight in. Okay. It says it's like the sun. Excuse me. It's like the sun coming out. Well, it's from Judas Maccabeus by Handel, and it's "Thine be the glory, risen conquering Sun. Endless is the victory thou over death hast won." Okay, well, we'll end in E major, shall we? No problem. But where should we start? There's the question. Yeah, let's just start a bit lower than that. Oh, hello. We've got company at last.
Hello.
Ooh, that was a... Do you want to try that again?
Hello. I haven't got my microphone on yet.
No, a bit of a croak there, wasn't it? We're actually now on John's number 1.
I know, I've been listening from next door.
Okay, well, here we go. Well, that brings a close to the end of John's top 5.
The cavalry's here.
No. Just before we get into Nala, just that brings us to the end of John's top 5. Wonderful list. So thank you very much, John, for sending that one through. He did say a very simple.
In the chat there, look.
Hi, John. Yes, hi. Thank you very much for sending it through. You did ask for a very simple modulation into the final verse. I made it so simple that I actually played a wrong chord in trying to make it as simple as possible without doing anything else. So that was rather backfired. But there, yes. So Nala is here now.
Yeah, the cavalry's here. We've arrived.
Is that what you call her? The
It's
cavalry?
Not, well, she and I together,
Cavalry's
we're a
Indians.
collective.
It's
Not VC without us, is it, Nala?
Yes, it is. But Bobby was here. So even before I played the first hymn, I was chatting away, saying hello, introducing people, getting people excited. And then I sort of was doing this with my quite animated arms, put my arm down, whack, and there was Bobby.
There was Bobby. Did she?
She was sat on a bench.
Did she panic?
She just jumped off and then rolled around on the floor for a little bit. Hopefully not in agony. But no, I was going to say, if you want to send in your top 5, you can. Just send it through to virtualchurch@beautyandsound.co.uk. You can just give me a top 5 list of your favourite hymns of remembrance. You can, whatever you're feeling at that time. It could be a wedding music. It could be, I don't know, anything. Just whatever you're feeling. Top 5. It doesn't need to be your ultimate top 5 laminated list. Just give me a top 5. We've got quite a few to get through, so we will get through them all over time. And if the backlog does get too big, we'll have to do some special top 5 videos, of course.
Hopefully there's some great purring noises going on here.
What about the people who don't like cats? What about these dog people?
I think you can like both. You can't. It's not one or the other, is it?
You've got a claw stuck in your top. Careful.
Oh dear.
Right, so we've done the pre-requests. We've done the top 5. It's so far so good, I think. We've only had the microphone open twice. We now need to get into the live requests. So yes. Josh Wilson's been doing very good things for capturing them all.
He has. You've already sung "I Worship the Lord in the Beauty of Holiness," haven't you? Already played. Elizabeth Brown.
She sponsored it for £2, but she also requested it in the form.
Ah, fine, okay.
So let's just go through the list here. So we've got
request Rayleigh Whaley. That's in Ancient and Modern, refreshing worship. Let me go and find it. I don't know where it is. Is it in your office?
Yes. I think it is.
Height of organisation here tonight.
So let's go into Carmen's. Carmen's requested one that we do have. O Thou Who Camest From Above, to the tune Hereford, as it's pronounced over here. Is it in here? O Thou Who Camest From Above. It should be, because it's a very well-known hymn. There it is. I'm going to play it in... Oh, no, we'll have it in E-flat. We'll have it in E-flat. So Carmen Foster, thank you for your $20. And here is O Thou Who Camest From Above. Words by Charles Wesley. Music is by Samuel Sebastian Wesley.
Bobby's
Good
fine,
teamwork.
she's here.
Well, no, she's all right. Ooh, I'm still on this camera. Is my thing working? Try again. No, it's not working. You're stuck with me. Something's crashed. was weird because actually my the cat's involved over there a minute ago because my Stream Deck crashed and I couldn't press any button.
No, they were looking at each other in a sort of standoff, but they were at the other side of the room.
I don't think them looking together in a standoff way would affect my Stream Deck.
No, I don't think
It's
so.
odd, it just stopped working.
Bobby was so offended that I called Nala and myself the cavalry, that she's come along to prove that she is part of the cavalry as well.
So what's going on with this one? Who was it who requested? Nick Knapp requested, when I survey the wondrous cross on which the Prince of Glory died.
Oh, he's singing, everyone. You're honoured.
To the tune A Whaley
You're
Whaley.
honoured to have some singing from Mr. McVeigh there.
Well, we've had some generous donations tonight. Some very generous contributions towards our music room. So I think that's the least they can expect from me tonight. So here we go.
We don't have the right words in this.
Well, I just demonstrated what they were.
True.
What more could the great people around the world want than to hear me sing the first couple of lines in my best operatic voice? I think not. I think not. But it gives you a flavour as to what the tune is going to be. Gorgeous tune. English traditional, an English traditional melody. There are these wonderful tunes, aren't there? These folk tunes and these traditional melodies, which are just so beautiful. And when they get arranged by people like Ralph Vaughan Williams, they just really come to life. And that one actually was arranged by Noel Treddinick. But Vaughan Williams was a master at Stanford did it as well. Of course, it was very fashionable back then to use folk music, folk songs, folk tunes in bigger symphonic music. I think that actually that is what separated out Ralph Vaughan Williams from his peers. He actually went off and did his own thing by using folk music in his own music. Right, what's up next?
Gregory Potter.
Gregory Potter. I think Gregory Potter might have had an issue with his Patreon. We should just have a look at that tomorrow. He says, I'm here and tuned in. My request is, as with gladness, men of old to the tune Dix. Got that right here. Thank you very much for your 1999. So, as with gladness, men of old did the guiding star behold. As with joy they hailed its light, leading onward, beaming bright. So, Most gracious Lord, may we evermore be led to thee. Okay. I think impromptu bass was a polite way of saying it, Bill. I was in the wrong place, basically. Let's go moving swiftly on. So, where are we up to? What's next?
I'm just sending you this tune called Hallet, which I think Carmen might have requested.
Where are you sending it to, sorry?
Your email. It should be arriving any minute. So.
Okay, did Josh send it? I think Josh sent it.
Well, he did, but I couldn't see it, so maybe he sent it to your email inbox that I can't see, but I've just sent it to you. So it's not to these words, it's Christ whose glory fills the skies, but to this tune.
Oh, okay. This is one from Carmen, was it?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, let's just have a couple of verses of this one then. So Christ whose glory fills the skies, to the tune Hallet. We tried to find this earlier on in the show, but we failed to find it. Josh Wilson, our producer today, has come up with the goods and sent the tune through on email. It sounds, I think, a little bit like this. to the tune Hallet. It's not one that I knew. We had to work quite hard to find that, actually. The tune that we know to those words, Christ whose glory fills the skies, is this one. But Hallet was new to me.
It was new to me too.
New to a lot of people, I think.
So the next hymn was requested by Robert Salisbury.
Yeah.
He also he wrote for request. May I request one of the following: "The King of Love, my shepherd is," and/or "Grand Chorus in B flat" by Dubois. Now you don't know that, do you? You said you didn't know it. Grand Chorus in B flat by Dubois.
Grand Chorus by Dubois. Sounds hard.
Grand Choeur in B flat.
Grand Choeur in B flat.
By Dubois. Our friend Dubois, who wrote the Tinnitus Epiphany piece that we all love so much.
Well, most of us do. So we have a look, see if we can find this Grand or by Dubois.
It is by Dubois.
I don't know that one.
Now, with "The King of Love, my shepherd is," he didn't specify
Probably
a
going to be
tune,
hard.
so perhaps you ought to play both the
Oh,
tune.
it's on the 12 pieces, 12 pièces. Oh, there it is. Okay. Let's have a look. Let's open it. And this is where I say I'll do something and then instantly regret it.
Well, you haven't said you'll do it yet.
I haven't said I'll do it yet, but let's just see. So where's Dubois on here? D D D D D. Oh, come on, that one.
That's it, yeah. I'm sure he won't mind hearing it next week, if you want to look at it.
We might have to have a look at that. Does it say more? So tempo is pop, pop. There's pop, 2, pop, 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 ba da ba dum, pop. And then it looks quite very very easy. And then oh god.
A tempo meno allegro, less allegro.
Yeah, I know, but I know. But then there's the pedal. But come on.
Oh, hi, Robert. Do you have a favourite tune for that
I
hymn?
think, seeing as though it's
Otherwise
Robert's, we'll have to give it a go.
Are you going to give it a go? Why
Well,
don't you just
because it's Robert, isn't
look
it?
at it
So-
properly and...
Robert's been super generous tonight, so it's the least I can do. I'll just
Wow.
play it a little bit under tempo.
You're so brave.
So the first thing we're going to have is our final hymn, which is "The King of Love, my shepherd is."
Robert says he's working on Rachel's wedding invitations. That's exciting.
Lovely.
Congratulations
Yes,
to
indeed.
Rachel.
Indeed. What are you thinking about the music? I'd be very interested to know what music you'll be having.
Hello, Colin. Harvey.
There's Colin, yes. Oh, Colin's here now. Oh God, let's play this. Colin, I've just promised a sight read something quite tricky. The things that happen online. Okay, before we do that, the King of Love, I know this one. The King of Love, my shepherd is. Colin, yes, I was in Twyford just the other week, actually having a look at the organ, because I haven't been in the church since you showed it to me all those years ago. I think in 2008. I just popped in. Oh dear, right, here we go. Right, which takes us on to the final piece tonight, which is new to me. I'm just going to have to take the edge off the tempo a little bit.
While you look at the music, I can tell them all a funny story.
Oh yeah.
You might have heard some banging and clattering from the kitchen next door. I was busy cleaning the kitchen earlier, and the reason for that was about an hour before Richard went live, I was clearing up Hugo's supper, and he opened the cereal cupboard where we keep our boxes of cereal, and I had my back turned for about 40 seconds. In that time, he got out a box of porridge oats. We call it porridge in the UK. Do you call it oatmeal in the US? The oats, anyway, and he'd managed to get the oats out and pour a heap of oats onto the floor, and he was swishing these oats all over the floor, having a lovely time. So it wasn't too bad because they were quite easy to sweep up, but it did get me a bit behind with doing the rest of the kitchen. But Hugo had a great 5 minutes spreading oats literally all over the floor, watched by Nala, who was no doubt egging him on.
I bet. Right, so let's just have a look at the geography of this piece. It looks like it's a crescendo. So it starts off with the great open diapason, swell 8 and 4 with oboe, and then with some stodge basically on the choir and the great. So let's just have the stodge straight away. A couple old manuals together. And you better wish me luck here. So I don't even know this piece to listen to. If you play me this piece and ask me to identify it, I wouldn't even know. So here goes nothing, guys. This is the final thing tonight. You've been very generous, so I'll happily play this piece for you this evening. It's the Grand Choeur by Theobald Dubois. What am I doing? What am I doing? Which one should we go on? Let's go on the multi-camera so you can see all angles. utterly ridiculous. The problem is, at one point, I just, my eyes couldn't move fast enough. I was essentially, on this page, you probably don't know it, but on this page here, the staves are actually quite far apart, and the right hand had lots of ledger lines, so the notes were really high above the stave. So the stave was really sort of spread out, and then the ledger lines were all the way up there. So I literally couldn't take in all the notes. And it's squashed on the page as well, making excuses. Didn't know that. I've never heard that piece in my entire life. It was fun to watch. Thanks. Well, that's a compliment. Yeah, you always got to find something positive to say. Well, there we go. After a week off, we're back. We're back in action. We're here to stay. 2023 here on BIS is going to be a fantastic year, and I can't wait to share the whole year with you. Lots of new content coming your way, and lots of new ideas as well. Some new initiatives coming your way, and it's going to be fantastic. Thank you to Josh Wilson, who has been keeping an eye on things. He's been chatting to me on a window all the way over there on the right hand side of this big huge monitor. Thank you very much, Josh, for keeping an eye on things. Please everyone just give Josh a clapping emoji. There's my emoji. And a thank you to everyone who's donated as well. So Robert, James, Gregory, Carmen, Terence, Nick-Nack, Charlie, Elizabeth, and Jerry. If I missed anyone, I apologise. Thank you for your donations. Really appreciated. So, if you haven't watched already, you might want to go and watch my recital that I recorded last weekend in Arundel Cathedral. It's basically, it's a live warts and all. It's a saying basically where anything goes. And it's a really wonderful organ, wonderful acoustic, and wonderful architecture. It's on the channel. It went online last night, so if you find yourself with a few minutes to spare, I'd appreciate you clicking in and watching that and leaving me a comment on that video. Until next week, I will say cheerio. I haven't said that for a few weeks. Good night, everyone. You take care, you stay safe, and you stay in touch. Leave me comments, just get involved. Goodbye, take care.